Betty. So today's Saturday, and all week I have been thinking about plant shopping. So this morning I went to a couple of stores. Um, I went to my favorite garden center, and then on the way I decided to stop at a couple of big box stores. I've been hearing on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube that people have been finding some really cool plants at places like Lowe's or Home Depot, and so I had to check it out for myself. So I wanted to show you what I got, and I think I got some pretty good finds. I didn't really go looking for anything in particular. I just kind of wanted to see what they had. My favorite garden center is actually under new ownership, so I just wanted to see what type of selection they had. So like I said, I got a couple of cool things, and let me go through them with you. So this one I actually didn't get today. I got this last week, and I got this at Lowe's. So this is a Rex Begonia plant. I have no idea what variety, but I have been really into Rex Begonias lately just for obvious reasons with the colors of their leaves. I was a little afraid at first because I've heard they can be a little bit fickle. But I haven't really found that even in the dry Massachusetts weather. I give them, sort of medium light. I have been keeping the soil moist, but not overly so. This one, so like I said, I got it at Lowe's, and they have a lot of these plants that have this rope, and I think it's supposed to help with watering, but it was definitely totally waterlogged when I got it. I don't know if this is necessary. I don't have it in any of my other ones, obviously, but I've left it so far. But generally for these plants, they do like a fair amount of humidity, but you can let them dry out before watering, and then when you do water, you water them pretty thoroughly. And some people will even go so far as to use distilled water or filtered water because I guess that they can be very sensitive to salts if you have hard water. So I haven't really noticed that, but again, I'm sort of a new begonia collector. Someday I'll show you all my other ones, but I thought this was a pretty good deal. It's in really good shape. It was $4, and it seems to be pretty good for having it for about a week and a half. But I really like this one. I thought that was a pretty good deal. I got that at Lowe's. So now I also went back to Lowe's this morning. That's one of the places that I've heard that there are just some really cool plants available. And I found two that I was really not expecting. One, I have no idea what it is. This one, I do know what it is. So this is a little Hoya. It was marked as a bilobata. It actually had three names on it. Bilobata, Sangi, if I'm saying it correctly, and then also DS70. And so what I've read from my little bit of research is that they are not the same thing. They're often used interchangeably, but they're not the same type of Hoya. So I don't really know what this is. I know that DS70 is a thing, and from what I've seen, the pictures definitely look like this with the sort of small leaves. This plant looks okay. It's a little dry, believe it or not. It weighs almost 10 pounds, so I don't know why the leaves feel a little bit wrinkly. I was kind of thinking about like putting it in the shower or something because it just feels kind of dirty. But I thought that this was pretty cool. I haven't seen this variety in any stores. So, and it was only $10, so I got it. I have heard that if this is a DS70, I think it has little white or brown flowers. I forget, but Hoya flowers are very fragrant. If you can get your Hoya to bloom. When they're indoors, they don't always do that, and mine have not done that yet. But this one, I guess, you can see that there's a little bit of reddish coloration on the middle of the leaves, and I guess that this one, if you put it in full sun, the leaves will turn sort of a pretty red color. And again, Hoyas are usually really easy to care for. They sort of thrive with a little bit of neglect. This one also. So I just really couldn't turn this one down. And like I said, it was $10. So I don't really know what variety it is, but it's in pretty good shape considering, again, it's a little bit overwatered for sure, but not as bad as the ones I got at Home Depot. So that is one. Hoya bilobata or Hoya sangi or DS70. Who knows? Maybe you can tell me. So the next one this actually I got at Lowe's too. And I don't know what it is. And I'm really annoyed by the tag. The tag says, you may, friends call me beautiful home decor. My name is houseplant. So tell me something I don't know. But I saw this at Lowe's. I really don't know what it is. I think that it might be some type of peperomia, just by the way that it feels. But I honestly don't really know. I really like the leaves. The leaves are heart shaped. And so it got me on that immediately. They feel sort of waxy. They feel sort of succulent like, which is one reason why I thought that it was maybe a peperomia. Um, it also kind of looks like an ivy, but it doesn't feel like an ivy. And I hope it's not an ivy because I don't usually do very well with ivies. So I asked the woman in the plant section, and she told me that it was in the ivy vine family. But I don't know if I believe her. So I actually took to one of my Facebook plant groups, and I'm looking for an identification. Um, one person agreed with me that it might be some type of peperomia, but I haven't gotten the exact name yet. If I do, I'll let you know. If you know, then tell me. This plant is also, it weighs like 12 pounds, so overwatered. The one thing the woman at the houseplant section did tell me is that they've been selling a lot of these and nobody has been coming back saying the plant died, so she's assuming that it's pretty easy to care for. And again, I'm assuming that it is some type of peperomia, but in which case it probably is really easy to care for, and I will be careful to let this one dry out before I water it again. But I really liked the vines. Again, the heart-shaped leaves got me pretty much immediately, and I like the tiny little leaves at the end. It is marked as a medium light plant. So, like I said, if you know what it is, then please tell me. So then I went to, I did go to my favorite nursery. So this is not a big box store plant, but I do want to show you this one. So I did get another peperomia. This one is called a red ripple peperomia. And I have a silver ripple one that I really love. I love the shape of the leaves. I love the markings on the leaves. And this one, you can see it's sort of green with a little bit of reddish colors on the leaves. And I saw it and I had to get it. And I got this really cool pot. Usually I buy terracotta pots because they're so cheap, and I have trouble, I'm already paying all this money for plants, so I have a little bit of trouble buying expensive pots. And I'm also really careful with this type of pot because sometimes I find that the drainage is not that great, which is one reason why I like terracotta pots, is because the water tends to evaporate a little bit more quickly. So at least you're not overwatering them. But I really liked this pot, so I did get it. It was $6. But so peperomias, this is like I said, it's a peperomia. You can let this one dry out in between waterings. I'm actually thinking about maybe bringing this to my office. I've read that they can do pretty well under artificial light. They do like bright light. And they also appreciate, like I said, not being overwatered. And I think, you have to be kind of careful in a dry environment because they do like a little bit of humidity. But my office is extremely dry, so and I have a little watering can there for my other plants. But I was thinking about doing that. If not, then I'll probably put it in the same north-facing window where I have my other peperomias, but that is right near a heat vent, so, we'll see how it goes. But I couldn't really turn this one down. It was a pretty good price, and I really like the color. So that is my little red ripple peperomia. And then from there, I went to Home Depot, and I do have a Home Depot in the town that I live in. It's the smallest Home Depot I guess, nationwide. So I go to their plant section a lot, and they have sometimes some really cool things. But, I wasn't going to stop at this other Home Depot, but I said, well, I'm here. And I stopped. And I'm glad that I did because they had some plants that I really was not expecting to find. Aside from the fact that they are totally waterlogged. Like my shoulder actually hurt after I picked these plants up. They actually look really, really, really healthy. So this one, oh my God, it's so heavy, is a Hoya. It was marked as a Hoya rubra or carnosa, which are actually two different things. So I mean, to me, it looks kind of like a carnosa. Um, but also from the pictures I looked up of Hoya rubra, it does sort of look like that too. But I'm actually wondering if there might be a couple of different kinds of Hoya in here. So look at this vine. So you can see that it's green on the outside, white on the inside, some really pretty variegation. The leaves are, or excuse me, the stems are red. There's some new growth coming in, if you can't see that. But if you look in the middle, there are these huge leaves here. And I just feel like maybe there's a couple of different kinds. And from what I have learned about Hoyas, and I am definitely not an expert, the carnosa leaves definitely do not get this big. I mean, look at this guy. It's huge. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. If not, and I'm just getting excited over nothing, that's fine too. But I mean, it does kind of look like there's different varieties in here. Even this stem, like look at the size of that leaf. So, but either way, this plant is in really good shape. I hope that it stays that way. All of the plants there were totally waterlogged. It took everything I had to not find a manager and tell them that they're slowly killing their plant selection. Some of them I just moved; they were hanging, and there was water everywhere. It just spilled out from the pot. So I was kind of a little upset, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just rescue all of them. But I did stop myself. But I did get this one, and obviously, Hoyas don't like to be overwatered, so this one I will take a lot of care to let dry out before I water it again. I might actually pop the bottom off of the hanging basket to see if there's any water that's sort of stagnant in there. But it didn't just spill on me, so I think I did that at the store. I just sort of held it to the side and let everything drain out. Better there than here. So that's another one. I was pretty excited about that. And then the last one, and like I said, I was not expecting to find this at all. But this is a manjula pothos. And I don't know if I have any of these. I think that I might, but none that is as full as this. None with this beautiful variegation on the leaves. And I saw it and I said, wow, that is a really good looking plant. I do have a few other pothos plants. I've had a couple. I had one that was huge, but it unfortunately got mealybugs. And if you have ever had mealybugs on a pothos plant, it's like a nightmare, especially with the really long vines. So, I've had some golden pothos plants. I have just a plain green one now that's doing pretty well. And actually over here, I have my marble queen pothos plant. The other day I wrapped it around itself. That's not a great leaf. There's actually a lot that are whiter up on top. But so the marble queen and the manjula pothos are often, well, I guess it depends on who you talk to, but they might be confused with each other. But they are different. You can see that the leaves on this manjula pothos are sort of curled up, sort of frilly at the edges, and the variegation is a lot different. So with the marble queen, it's sort of like speckles throughout, where this, the leaves are very different. There's stripes. Some of it is extremely dark green, and there's leaves that are almost entirely white. So I was really excited to find this plant, and I hope that it does well. It just spilled a little bit of water in my pants, so it's definitely still waterlogged. And again, I might pop off the bottom and let some of the water drain out. But I've had pretty good luck with pothos minus the mealybugs. My marble queen actually probably gets a little too much light. There's spots on it that are sort of sunburned. So this one, they can do really well in low light. The variegated ones might need a little bit more to do better. It depends on how much variegation there is on them. But they do well in low light. And so this new one I'll probably put in a low to medium light environment, probably near a window. And I don't water mine too often. They sort of droop when they need to be watered, so I look for that. I've gone through phases where I do water them twice a week, and they seem to do okay. some of my leaves, if they're yellowed or if they're dry, I just kind of pull them off. And sometimes these plants do really well if you just cut them back. If you have a really leggy one or a viney one, if you cut it back, it will sort of reward you by being bushier in the middle. So I've done that with some of my other ones. I've been thinking about doing that with my marble queen, just because like I said, some of the leaves are sunburned, the vines are super long, but we'll see. But anyways, so this one, the manjula pothos, was at Home Depot. I think it was $17, and I just couldn't turn it down. So that's what I got. That's my big box haul, I guess, plus one from a little specialty nursery. But I was pretty pleased with myself. I left feeling sort of euphoric, and now I need to figure out where I'm going to put them. So wish me luck. See you next time. Bye.